the BUHS number 6 board to order, and I would take nominations for the election of the board chair.
I nominate Robert Woodworth for chair.
I second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of Bob Woodworth as chair, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to turn the meeting over to...
Boy, that was fast. Didn't even give me a chance to think, did you? Enjoy it, Bob. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate your confidence. And as I said last year, I'll try to do better, and I'll continue to try to do better. And maybe in a while I'll be up to at least average. Well, we'll see. Okay, the next order of business is election of a vice chair. Are there nominations?
I nominate Ricky Davis.
A second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Other nominations? Okay, I guess nominations cease then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Acclamation. Thank you. Ricky's a great help because he sits here and whenever I miss something, forget whether there's a motion on the floor or whatever, he's right there and right on top of it. So, good combination. Next would be the election of the board clerk. Are there nominations?
I nominate Ruth Barton.
Okay, a second.
Oh, I guess I
I want to do that too.
Yeah, I know, we all do.
Any other nominations?
Who was the second?
Ron Stanley.
Well, Russ was fast. We'll get it to Russ.
Me, I'm a ventriloquist. Sounds
Okay, are there any other nominations? If not, all in favor of electing Ruth?
Aye.
Thank you. Acclamation once again.
I'll try to carry on with this onerous duty. Thank you, Jane.
Okay, so we need to also elect 3 voting members for WSCSU. And currently, the voting members are Ruth, Russ, and Melanie, and I am the alternative.
Yep.
Yeah. Are there nominations?
I nominate Ruth, Ricky, and Russ.
You nominate a slate. Okay, I guess you can do that. Is there a second? Sean?
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Acclamation. An entire slate by acclamation. Very good. Okay, establish meeting days and times. We have, for as long as I can remember, met on the first and third Monday of each month, and at 7 p.m. Is there any suggestion that we change it, or a motion to keep it the same? Ruth?
I move we keep it the same, the first and third Mondays at 7 p.m. I think if we changed it, it would throw the whole SU out of whack.
It's become quite a habit, so I think I probably would have a hard time making sure I was here the right day, too. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay. Either Ricky or Lori, I don't know, they're about the same. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We will continue to meet on the first and third Mondays of each month at 7 p.m. Okay. Yep. As far as the committees go, actually, there's no changes to the board. Was there any? All the outlying town members were not up for re-election.
No.
Is that correct? Everybody. I guess I was the only one that was up for re-election. So I think we've got the committees worked out fairly well based on people's interest and also availability. Yes, Sean.
Well,
I actually said at the town meeting in Guilford that I would like to join the BAMS committee. So if I would be permitted to do that, that would be appreciated.
That would make sense, and I don't think there'd be anybody that would argue that. Let's see here. So that Lori, right now it's Lori, Mike, Ricky is chair, and Russ is alternate. But we can put Sean in there, and because you are no longer on planning and policy, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. I thought we had updated that one earlier, but I guess not. Okay. That would indicate that we should have one more person to volunteer for planning and policy.
I'd like to volunteer to be on planning and policy. I'd also encourage anyone who hasn't been on the finance committee to have a turn. It's very interesting. It's very important.
And it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
And you get it out of the way fairly early, depending on what other priorities you have in the morning. Don't everyone jump up at once.
There's no flexibility about times that my restriction is always the times.
Yeah, we've moved it around some. There's always challenges in terms of people's schedule in the morning, having to get kids to school and get to work and so forth. Were you thinking of planning and policy or finance?
I was the Putney representative for the SU Finance Committee, and I enjoyed it, and I found it really fascinating. So I would be interested in doing the Finance Committee for the UHS board, but I cannot do that time. There's just no way I can do it.
Does it have to be in the morning?
Well, it doesn't have to be. If it's not in the morning, in order for me to attend, it has to be pretty late in the evening. Unless and the problem that we've been having is we've got 2 or 3 meetings that come on just before the board meeting, and then you start to get into situations with overlap. I know it works out well for Jim Kane.
Would 7:30 make it easier?
No, weekday mornings, this can't work.
And I know that works well for Jim, because we meet at central office. I think since, in my memory, it's always been at some point early in the morning, maybe not quite that early, but...
We started at 7, and then it went to 7:30, and then it went to 8 o'clock, and that was way too late in the morning for me. And now we're back at 7, and it's great.
It works pretty well, really.
Well, I think in general for the group, it works well for me. 7 o'clock does, with other commitments that I have shortly after 8. So
It really wouldn't be fair to make Jim stay till 6 or 6:30 in the evening for a meeting,
right.
which you have to do for you.
So I think at this point we probably would want to keep it the same, but we appreciate your interest. Would you consider planning and policy?
What is the meeting time for planning and policy?
Generally,
before the meeting, every other meeting or so.
And is
as
it
needed?
What time? Like 6:30 or 6 o'clock?
Depends on if there's a TCC.
It depends on TCC. Sometimes it's sometimes as early as 5:30, but usually it's around 6.
Okay. I could easily make the 6 o'clock one, so I could do the planning and policy.
yeah, it's all in the same meeting as the regular meeting. Okay, that would be great. Okay.
Is Sean coming off there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have alternates on other committees or just the WSES?
We have alternates on BAMS, that being Russ. We certainly can have them on the other, or additional. We have had 5 on finance before. The challenge is an alternate that...
I think we'll get up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, not so much get up at 7, but no, to remember to notify somebody, because we don't always know until we get there who's coming, who isn't. Whereas with the SCSU, generally we talk about that at the meeting closest in time to that. But if there's anybody that would like to serve as an alternate on TCC, Planning and Policy, and Finance, that would be fine too. But I believe now everybody is on at least two committees.
Well, since Melanie is interested and available for policy and planning, I could be the alternate to that. I
Okay.
could nominate myself to be the alternate to that.
Well, we were limited members.
That's
so
in
two people would not be
chair.
Right, yeah.
Well, I will use my new chair discretion to put you as an alternative on planning and policy.
But are they saying, Ian, are you saying that you could use the membership?
Yeah,
You'd
we
like
were a
to
very
have a
small
full-
committee.
Yeah. So that would make it for you, a regular,
I'll do it.
okay. Yeah, now that puts you on BAMS, Finance, and Planning and Policy. Okay, great. Yes, Ruth?
Does that mean I get to get off planning and policy?
You're not on there.
Oh, well, you put me on there. I guess I can.
Be generous and let us know.
You can stay on it.
Well, you put me on when Sean got off because
Oh, okay. That's right, you're correct, I forgot that, you were, okay, so you can,
You made me volunteer.
and you did a great job. You leave quite a legacy on planning and policy. Yes, Sean?
I was wondering if I could ask the normal BAMS meeting.
Usually the first Monday of the month at 6:30.
In the morning.
No. That would work for me, but not for everybody else, so.
Okay, thank you. And it's where usually? It's right here.
Right
Just
here.
before this meeting.
Yeah, just before this meeting.
It's been a bit of a challenge this last year in terms of getting the other meetings over and getting our meeting started at 7. We haven't done too badly, but I appreciate the fact that it's great for people to be able to come just a little bit early and get their committee meetings out of the way, so we can continue with that, but hopefully we can continue to keep them within the relative, time frame to close to 7. Sean, did you have somebody over there had Melanie, did you have
I was just wondering if any other committees were short at this point.
Well, we have at least 3 on every committee. WRCC is the smallest one. I guess since we've had that, it's been 3 basically, right? And you're one of them, so.
I've never been to one of the meetings. I don't know if that's... A few months ago, there was trouble with, I wasn't getting any notifications of any kind.
Oh, really?
And that's actually gotten better now. I think it was coming from the central office. I wasn't getting notifications of this meeting or anything for a while. But I have been getting them lately.
Well, hopefully you're on the list now. She's on the list for it, yeah. The other thing I would say is that all board members are invited to attend and encouraged to attend. As a matter of fact, I think when we talked about our objectives for this year, we kind of all agreed that we would try to attend, one meeting of the committees that we weren't on. And that's encouraged. Anytime you can sit in on a meeting, particularly if there's a certain item that you're interested in, or just in general, to keep up and see what the committees are up to. So, anybody that wants to get up for 7 on 2 Wednesdays a month is welcome to join us. Laurie?
I have a suggestion for the committee meetings because there's not much time scheduled for them and they're important, clearly. I'm not opposed to receiving communications in advance, an agenda perhaps, any materials via email to save paper. Like we get the materials for this meeting in advance. We get most of our materials for our finance committee meetings in advance. So it might streamline it. Half an hour isn't much time to talk about the issues facing the committees.
So generally, for the other committees, there is not an agenda or information isn't sent out ahead of time? Is that
Generally.
okay? Well, that might be appropriate, particularly if there's a lot of things to talk about in a meeting. It is helpful in finance because we get the warrants ahead of time. We need to look through those so we don't spend time sitting at central office going through all the 400 pages of vouchers. We do that ahead of time. So. Okay. You have the alterations there? Okay. So, let's move on, and we do have some presenters, but before we do that, I think we'll just run through the clerk's report quickly, and then move on to the group from Renew. Approval of the minutes for March 4th. They were circulated. Is there a motion?
I will approve the minutes, March 4th, 2015.
Moves and
Second.
Ricky seconds. Okay. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of March 4th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Melanie? Okay. Any communications?
Well, maybe this would be a good time for me to just quickly plug in about our Guilford Town Meeting. We had, obviously, our 7th and 8th graders are coming to BAMS next year, which is kind of an exciting development. And the vote was 130 to 91 after a lengthy discussion. A lot of feelings different ways, and I think in the end it's a positive thing for the town of Guilford, and we're looking forward to it.
So are we. Right, Jerry?
We are, yes, definitely.
Okay, anything else under communications? Okay, anything else? That's it for the clerk's report. So we have some guests this evening. This is part of our board education. And I see Mr. Holliday is here, and he has quite a crew with him. And we'll...
The crew has me with them.
They're all jumping right up. You want to introduce yourselves and
Yes.
tell us what the program is?
My name's Joshua Lake. I'm the president of Students for Renew.
I'm Daisy Giroux. I joined this year.
My name is David Bonte.
I'm Tana Banti.
I'm Hannah Bailey.
I'm Madison Doucette.
We are Renew. Renew is restoring the environment and neutralizing the effects of war. This group came about in 2007 when Mr. Holliday took a trip to Vietnam. When he was there, he came across the headquarters of Project Renew. Learning about the devastation that happens on a daily basis in Vietnam really hit home with him. And coming back from Vietnam, he started Students for Renew here in Brattleboro. And it was spearheaded by one girl who ended up making a trip to Freedom High School in Virginia. And since then, it has laid dormant since the end of last year, when Mr. Holliday approached me and asked me to bring it back up. We have since then helped fund a house being built. We have presented at Keene State College, Thompson House in Brattleboro, and given interviews to several other people in the community. And this is our presentation that we have for you today.
So, as Josh has said, Renew stands for Restoring the Environment and Neutralizing the Effects of War. And basically, we work to raise awareness and hope to mitigate the effects of war that are still being felt today. This here is the headquarters of Project Renew in Quang Tri Province in northern Vietnam. So, during Vietnam, 500 tons of unexploded ordnances were dropped, contaminating 1/3 of the land mass. That more bombs were dropped in the country of Vietnam than during all of World War II. The most affected region is Quang Tri Province, which is just south of the division line. 80% of Quang Tri Province is contaminated with unexploded ordnances. Poverty compounds the problem of unexploded ordnances because poor families send their children out to look for scrap metal. And also the breadwinners of the families go out looking for scrap metal. That boy that we just saw in that slide, he had a metal detector, and if he could find a 500-pound bomb, then he could provide his family with 3 years' salary. So many of the bombs are very small. Others are very well camouflaged. Yet others they tunnel into the ground after they are dropped from the helicopters, and so they remain buried until someone hits them with enough force. Project Renew in Vietnam is very unique because it's entirely run by the Vietnamese people, and the United States is only a monetary supporter. Project Renew began in 2000 with the coalition of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund and the Quang Tri Province People's Committee. There's 5 different branches for Project Renew: UXO clearance, information, mine education, mine victim assistance, and the developmental branch. Here we have Ms. Shear, who recently donated $100. She got all of her Social Studies 1 classes gathered together and were able to contribute. Josh here is giving the money over. This woman here, I'm not sure if you can quite see this picture, but we helped build her a house. And over here we have a man learning how to walk with his bicycle legs, prosthetic legs.
We have play that, Josh. We made some videos as part of our campaign to educate people about what we're doing, and we're running a Donate a Dollar campaign. So these are, they're less than a minute apiece. I'm not sure where the volume is either. That sounds good. The video's back a couple of slides.
It's this Mac, I'm
A
telling you.
little bit of a sobriety test there. And I need to think. Just kidding, man.
It's on TV, though.
I should have let you run this, Ron.
Yesterday was St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
At age 20, Ho Van Lai has his own aspirations, like any other young adult. Discovering knowledge, leading his own life, becoming a helpful person. But he cannot enjoy even simple joys, such as playing soccer. Never again will he feel the ball touch his feet. A cluster bomb took his 2 legs and 1 arm. Forever. The injuries significantly prevent Lai from living a normal life. However, the bomb may have taken his legs and 1 arm, but it did not take his extraordinary will to live.
So the first branch of Project Renew is UXO clearance. This branch, the overall goal is to clear all of the contaminated land of Vietnam to make it safe for development. In 2010, the Vietnamese government launched a program to clear 600,000 square miles of the land. This means the Vietnamese are invested in their future and protecting their future generations. So while the U.S. is there, it is mostly a monetary supporter, and we let the Vietnamese, they're invested in their own future, and we allow them to, we don't try to take over their project. And that's a very important thing, I think. So they they launched a program to clear all this 600,000 square miles by 2025. So far, 1,600,000 UXOs have been removed, and 5,000 square miles has been cleared. And this is a big feat if you think about this in 2010 to 2012. In only 2 years they've done this, so they're well on their way. In one case, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund sponsored a Major League Baseball player. He's from Cincinnati, maybe? Cincinnati Reds.
Danny Graves of the Cincinnati Reds was sponsored to come over to Vietnam.
Yeah, they sponsored him to come over and play, teach the kids of a local high school to play baseball. And in the process of doing this, they needed to clear land to make a baseball field. So they decided to clear the land from the school's playground, and the school is right back here, and this is the playground that they cleared. And in the process of clearing that land, they found 17 unexploded ordnances right under the high school. It was a K-8 school, and right under the playground there were 17 unexploded ordnances. So far there had been no casualties, but it was only a matter of time. They hadn't, say, put enough pressure on something, but I mean, they could have, and it was just a step away to making a very big, irreversible tragedy. The next branch is the database branch. This is the overall goal of this is to make the information and to keep track of clearance and make the information available to the global community. And it's important to raise awareness about what is happening and to make it available to the global community, and so that people know what's going on and that it's an issue that they care about and they would like to change. The landmine risk impact survey went around recently in 2010, and that was a very big jumpstart for the database section. They also they keep track of the cleared land, and however this is a very difficult feat because say a certain plot of land is cleared, due to shifting terrains, it can be recontaminated very easily by a flood and everything, so it's very hard to keep track of the cleared land.
I just want to say this before we continue on. Since the war ended, April 25th, 1975, over almost 40,000 people have died due to unexploded ordnances. That's the equivalent of everyone in Fenway Park dead. So that's just a statistic that has really stuck in my mind after doing all of this. And what this branch of Renew does, minor risk education, they teach kids, the people who are most affected by unexploded ordnances, about the dangers and hazards. In schools, we teach A for apple, B for butterfly. They teach B for bomb. I mean, it's a major problem over there. Here you see they have educational celebrations to inform everyone what the real hazards are. You can see. You can see Renew has its billboards set up all over the country. They have the Renew logo. You can see, so everyone can contact them. The minor risk education encourages reportings of when a bomb is found, when an explosion has happened. They want to know. Victim assistance, any money we raise will go towards victims. It will go towards helping someone get a prosthetic limb, or building a house, or providing them with some sort of income, such as water buffalo or livestock of any sort. Renew also has a program called Mushrooms with a Mission. As you can see, this man here has lost his legs. in a UXO explosion, and Renew has taught him and provided him with the capability of cultivating mushrooms. Now that he's no longer able to farm, this is his only source of income. So his family doesn't have to go out and continue looking for unexploded ordnances. He can have an actual life. And there's cattle that was provided to a family through Renew, water buffalo, and
Don't start that just yet, Lindsay.
Yep.
The crew put together some spots, and BUHS TV helped us with this. Ms. Tronosky, we spent quite a bit of time in the television studio and made these spots to go alternately with the film segments that we have. So we'll show one or two of those and then show you that although I think you'll find these tasteful enough, professional enough, you'll see that behind the scenes it wasn't so easy. Go ahead.
This is Josh, Tana, Daisy, Hannah, and I'm Mayru. We are Students for Renew. Renew stands for Restoring the Environment and Neutralizing the Effects of War. Today, 20% of the Vietnamese countryside is contaminated with unexploded ordnance. That is 12,500,000 football fields. You can help us clear this land. Donate $1 to Students for Renew. And help us help them.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Daisy, and I'm part of the Students for Renew, and part of our mission is to help survivors of UXO explosions rebuild their lives and assist them with care, such as giving them artificial limbs. In the country of Vietnam, UXOs are left over from the Vietnamese War. Small children may stumble upon them thinking they are toys and they explode. Families also go out looking for these bombs because it is a good source of income. Students for Renew can help these Vietnamese people by providing them with care and education to stay alive. Donate $1 to Students for Renew. Help us help them.
And this is what it's like behind the scenes. Sorry, Tom.
While you're practicing, I'm going to check your audio. And can you see that okay, or do you want to get a little closer? I can see it, yeah. Okay. Yep.
I was on the way back from school and I saw this metal thing in the grass. I picked it up and put it in my pocket and went home. I did not know what it was. After English, there we go. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I want to thank you all very much for your time. I don't want to exceed our limit here. We appreciate you guys listening. Spreading awareness really is one of the biggest things we can do, whether it be to young children or adults. The more that's known all around our community, the more we can help people in Vietnam. Thank you.
What's the mechanism for donation that isn't referred to? And give Mr. Holliday $1.
I've already done a count here, and if you could all, except Mr. Staley, Ron has already become a major contributor to this. But leaving him out, $2 per person would get you people into our film credit.
Wow. Free publicity.
We just asked the students to donate $1, but anybody or group of bodies who kicks in $25. We do have a film. We didn't show it tonight. It's 7.5 minutes. And at the end of the film, people who are, or groups who are major contributors at $25 or more, we put them in the film credit. So you'll be seen everywhere. We've had some organizations. Ron says, yes, I want to be seen everywhere. But
I'm taking them to Rotary next month.
We've had some organizations say that they wanted to contribute mightily, maybe over $1,000, but they've asked, can we get some kind of recognition with a spot? Absolutely, absolutely. We're happy to have them help spread the word also. We're on, we have our own website. You can find our film at the second link. We're on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I just put one comment in here. People who are working like-mindedly are very excited about what these kids are doing. This came from England, from a Vietnamese woman who was adopted. Her parents were killed during the Vietnam War. Some people have asked why Vietnam? Why Vietnam? And it has railed a couple of veterans, including the guy who teaches next to me, Justin Duncan, who's here temporarily. And he said, well, I fought in that war. What are you doing? It's not about you. It's not about veterans. It's about helping people today. And Vietnam, because it's part of our curriculum in Social Studies 3. If we were studying the war in Syria, we could certainly plug that in. There are people coming to the United Nations to speak in a couple of weeks from Laos. They were just as effective. And they're going on a speaking tour, including at the United Nations. I don't know, with any great luck, maybe a couple of us can get down to that. I don't know. But that's why Vietnam. Justin Duncan today became a major contributor and allowed us to take his photo with Josh, and he's now up on the internet. So we brought him around. He realizes we're not fighting the war. We're not dissing our own veterans in any way, shape, or form. It's just to help people. When I was over there in 2007, I discovered that over 80% of the population of Vietnam was under the age of 35. So the people that fought in the war don't exist anymore. And the people that are there now are very eager to be friendly with the United States. Vietnam is the #1 exporter of table pepper, too. Remember that. Do you have any questions for these guys? Or
I just have a comment. I mean, this is a lot of pride right here in our school. And actually, my wife's professor, who happens to live in Putney, was one of the earliest people to do environmental work on the degradation in Vietnam right after the war. And he was a professor at Wyndham College, and he's written extensively. His name is Arthur Westing, so I think if you Googled him, you'd find some really interesting information.
Art Westing was one of my teachers.
There you go. Yeah. So he went to Vietnam, and he did specific studies on the environmental impact of the craters and how the craters actually changed the ecosystem. So I think you guys would really find some information that would be interesting if you Googled him.
One of my classmates and possibly one of his students was Christopher DuPont. DuPont Chemical. Some of the defoliants. Art Westing was adamantly opposed to the defoliants that were being used in Vietnam.
He actually has a couple of books at the Putney Library that he's right now that you can check out.
So that might be a really good resource, especially since it's local, so it's even more poignant somehow.
Thank you very much.
We've got a long meeting, but thank you.
Well, thank you. Is this the entire group, or are there other just?
Well, we've got a couple more.
Yeah.
We kind of divided up the chores so that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. That was great.
Thank you for letting us.
There's some budding TV stars there.
Well, 4 of them.
Excellent sport. We got an ovation. Jason was there. Thank you, Tom. She didn't know I was going to use that. There were some other funny ones, too.
Well, it never comes out perfect the first time, right?
Right, right.
Luckily, we collected some, nobody kicked in 1,000.
Some's coming up.
Oh, you bless your hearts. You're kidding.
We couldn't watch that.
Yeah. I was sort of pulling your chains here. But the hug with Woody, I think, sold it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your help.
You don't mind us putting you on the internet then as members of the school board, rather than the school board. Is that in the budget? Members of the school board.
I think some of the administrators.
Yes.
And, well, we were going to hit them later.
Oh, jeez.
Call the double dip, boys.
Hit him again. Hit him again.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. The lights on all the way. I hope. There we go. Okay, we'll move into consent agenda. Is there a motion accordingly?
I move we go to consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, and second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Finance, building, and transportation.
Okay, we have from, oh dear, I didn't get that one on here, but I guess it's on there. We have left over from the February 20th Finance Committee meeting when we didn't have enough members to approve anything. So on March 6th, we approved warrant numbers 1149, 1152, 1153, 1155, 1156, 57, 58, and 59 in the amount of $168,744.21. And we also approved warrants number 1160, 1162, 1163, 1168, 1169, 1170, 1172, 1173, and 1174, and a total of $474,673.03. We also approved the payrolls from February 8th in the amount of $502,977.64, and from February 22nd, payrolls in the amount of $617,041.35. But those didn't make it on this meetings.
Well, they are.
You're on the one that's online right now. They didn't.
Oh, okay. Very good. I didn't look clear to the end of the whole thing. Okay. So that's that. What else did we do at that meeting? That was a long time ago. March 6th. Oh, we talked about year-to-date financials, which will be reviewed this coming Wednesday when we have our next meeting, and the town water thing that we've been talking about for quite a while. We still haven't gotten an answer on that. And Bob, do you remember anything else about
Well, I
Sean
guess I
or
would just
Lori?
clarify, because this may be the first time the water issue has come up. There's a
Oh, I just went down through the list of what we did.
the Eagle Eye Sean a while back noticed that the bill for water seemed to be huge, and did a little mathematics and came out with an incredible number. And Robert Clerk is in the process of reviewing with the town to see if we can figure out what's going on, particularly the last summer and fall quarter. Water usage was just incredible. So that's Sean Sharton has picked that one up, and we're investigating that. We are also have been looking for a little education on our policies surrounding travels and conferences, just so we understand a little better what the general procedures are. And Jim has some information for us for our Wednesday meeting on that. And as Ruth said, we will also review the year-to-date financials as we get about 2/3 of the way through the budget year. I think that was about it. Okay. Planning and policy.
Has not met since your last session.
Okay. Teacher Curriculum Committee.
Also has not met since our last meeting.
BAMS Committee.
Has not met since our last meeting.
And the WRCC Committee.
Has not met since the last meeting.
Okay. Anything else for consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to accept?
I move to accept consent agenda.
Ruth and Lori, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay, accepted the consent agenda. Administrative reports. Oh, I'm going to do geography again here and go starting at the south end once again. Everybody looks at each other and tries to figure out where the south is.
That's
Jerry.
me. All right, here we go. As Sean mentioned, BAMS is very excited about our rising 7th and 8th graders that are coming to us from Guilford next year. Ingrid, myself, our 2 guidance counselors did have a chance to go to Guilford, and we had our first meeting with the parents last Wednesday, March 13th. We filled up the library. It was a very productive meeting. Gave a lot, parents, these are the parents of the children that are coming to us, and so we rolled out our transition timeline paperwork for them, answered a lot of their questions. There's still going to be a lot more questions, but that process has started, so we're really excited to have them coming on board. Our BAMS math counts went to their state competition on Saturday. There was a team of 4 students. They had finished second in the regional math count competition back in February, which earned them a spot in the state competition. No big awards for them, but they certainly did a nice job, made a nice showing. Tomorrow night, hopefully, depending on the weather, is our annual exploratory open house, as well as following up with our music concert in the evening starting at 7 o'clock. This open house, it showcases our exploratory teachers. That's our art, technology, education, health, foreign language, foods class, physical education, library science. All of those teachers will be around in the building and talking about their curriculum. And that starts at 5:30. We invite the 6th grade family, so these are our rising 7th graders. So they've all been notified in our elementary schools. We have quite a turnout that evening. Not only our own families, our current families that we have, but also all of our upcoming students. They're also invited. And then at 7 o'clock is the musical concert. That's our 2 bands, our Purple and White Day band, our Purple White Day chorus, Also, our jazz band and our Odyssey perform. So it's quite a fabulous evening. If for some reason the weather turns against us tomorrow, then we are going to just postpone that until Thursday evening at the same time, starting at 5:30.
The exploratory and followed by the concert at 7?
Yes. Mr. Mike Friel, many of you probably know Mike. Mike is a retired administrator here in the district. He's on board today, his first day full-time to support my work in the office while Ingrid's away on her leave. And then our 8th graders last Tuesday, on the 12th, participated in the NAEP, the National Assessment of Educational Progress. So we have our little certificate that we had, that we did their little NAEP testing, showing that, which really links to the nation's report card. We don't receive any kind of school, specific school or student report card, if you will. This all of the assessment scores all go back into creating this nation's report card. So these are just our 8th graders. They test 4th grade, 8th grade, and 12th graders. We had about 92% of our students that participated, and that was, it wasn't 100% only because of attendance. So we needed.
Make a comment about that?
Mm-hmm, sure.
The NAEP testing, I think, is critically important for Vermont. I was just at a meeting last week with the Deputy Commissioner of the Agency of Education, and they're very concerned about the transition from the NECAP to the Common Core assessment, which is going to happen in 2015. And the fact that Vermont has had very high standards that has helped us. And one of the questions I asked was, will we keep using the NAEP for at least a couple of years out past the transition? And they indicated that they plan to do that. And I'm glad of that, because we may see a bump with the NECAP scores to the Common Core Smarter Balance test. But the fact that Vermont always scores in the top tier nationally in the NAEP exams indicates that Vermont has very high standards. And so I'm glad we do it as a district. I'm glad Vermont's doing it, and it'll be a good thing when we make this transition.
That's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Career Center, who's
I'm going to be
joint
presenting
project?
the report tonight. I have a few items for the report. One is I regret to highlight that we have a resignation with our co-op coordinator, our co-op, Lloyd Saborski, at the end of the school year. He has been very instrumental with our students in connecting them with the surrounding community and from school to work. So he will be greatly missed at the Career Center. Secondly, this Friday we are going to be having an open house with the district 8th grade, and that'll be the entire morning. And Dave has coordinated with all the principals to bring about 250 8th graders to tour the Career Center, which we're very excited for. And later that afternoon, we'll have an open house to the public as well after the early dismissal. Thirdly, the 22 WRCC dance program students attended the Regional High School Dance Festival in Norfolk, Virginia last week, and students from 50 different high schools from all over the East Coast attended this conference and recital. And out of that, 35 representatives from college and summer programs awarded scholarships to 12 of our dance students for the summer and college. So we're really excited for them.
What time is the open house for the public?
From 12:30 until 4.
Before we forget it, we should accept the resignation of Lloyd Saborski. We have a resignation letter here. Is there a motion?
I move we accept the resignation of Lloyd Zaborski with regret.
Okay. second by Ricky. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. Thank you. We'll miss him. He was made great contributions. Okay, I guess we're at the high school.
Sure. So the weather doesn't show it, but we're right on the edge of beginning spring sports. I'm talking to a coach today who was lamenting the weather forecast because they were ready to go outside next week, and it doesn't look like they will be. But before I get to spring, I'd like to acknowledge the boys hockey team and their great playoff run. They had 2 thrilling playoff games, and last Friday night, one estimate was 650 spectators in Withington Arena watching them as they took on Burton. They had a great season, a nice group of young men, and we're looking for great things in the future as well. Our art department is in the middle of Student Art Month right now, and there's a lot of art displayed downtown. If you go down to Vermont Artisans or Equilibrium, or down behind Equilibrium is behind TJ Buckley's, a lot of our students' art is displayed, drawings and photos. We've had some students involved in some juried shows, and we're looking forward to hearing about awards that they'll receive later on. So our art department continues to make strong connections in the community. In English, student Maya Gilmore finished second in the state competition for Poetry Out Loud. That's the best showing of any DUHS student that's done since we've been a part of that. That is her 3rd consecutive year representing DUHS at the state level, so congratulations to Maya. She did a fantastic job. I heard her poem when she did it here, and it was very well done and very well presented. Last Thursday we had parent conferences. That went pretty well. There's a pretty steady stream of parents coming to see teachers to talk to them about their child and the progress. And also on March 6th, we had a scheduling meeting for parents whose children are right now in 8th to 11th grade. And it was a scheduling meeting, and counseling had asked us to do this. And during that time, we talked about offerings at the Career Center, the Collegiate High School, and BUHS. Parents afterwards told me it was great. Many people felt it was better than our traditional 8th grade orientation program. So we're going to look at some ways that maybe next year we can incorporate some of the aspects of this into the 8th grade orientation to make it a more interactive night. The counselors also reported to me that they had great questions from parents. And the questions didn't just stay focused on scheduling. We talked about everything from concussions and impact testing all the way to cafeteria food. So it was a good discussion. So it was great to actually have parents feel comfortable enough to ask those questions. So I was glad to see that.
We had 2 parents here from the board.
We did, yeah.
I didn't ask about concussion.
No. And I felt bad the counselor in the room didn't know a lot about the concussion testing, but I was there so I could fill in. So I said they hurt. Talk about it more.
Not the test.
I know our trip advisors usually come and ask the board in person, but Bob Kramsky was unable to be here. He is taking a group to London this April, and they're actually leaving on April 13th and returning on April 21st. And they're doing foreign travel. They're going to the Globe Theater, doing English history, and doing some cultural studies. And he is requesting that the board extend the insurance waiver, as we have done in the past for the trip.
And any substitutes?
No subs are needed during
Just
vacation.
an insurance waiver. Okay. Is there a motion accordingly?
I move the request to extend the waiver of the insurance for the foreign trip as requested.
Trip. Second by Melanie. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, good to go on that one.
We are beginning the hiring process. As the board knows, last week I think I took about, or 2 weeks ago, I think I took about 30 minutes to go through resignations with everybody. As part of that process, we're doing extensive interviewing, and the chair and I have talked a little bit about that process. And what we've done in the past is we've invited a board member to attend for every hiring committee. And I'm certainly welcome to have that process continue. There are some concerns, though, that there will be too many days of hiring than board members can cover. So obviously the offer is open to any board member to come to the hiring committee. But I would also like to encourage you to come to the second round as well, when we interview finalists, to get a conversation with finalists for positions, rather than sitting through all of them. And I don't know what the pleasure of the board is in that.
Do you have dates set for anything yet?
We do. They actually begin this Wednesday. I can send you all of the dates. Over the next 2 weeks, for department heads, we're interviewing 1 day for art, that's this week, and then 2 days over the next 3 weeks for counseling, English, and modern classical language.
In discussing that with Steve, that was my suggestion. It's certainly great to have the board involved, and I think we should be. However, with the sheer number that we have right now, I didn't want anybody to feel like they had to give up several whole days, about 6 days of total of interviewing, and I know that that's not practical or possible for many of you, but so I suggested that as we narrow down the field a little bit, that then we get involved. And if people want to come be part of the initial one, by all means volunteer, but I didn't want anybody to feel obligated to full days of interviewing. Ian?
So are we doing all the positions at once and like doing all the initial interviews and then going to do all the next ones, or are we doing it one position at a time?
We're staggering it. So right now, I'm looking at the calendar right now, we're looking, as I said, this Wednesday at interviewing for the art department head position. The following week, on the 27th and 29th, we'd be looking at the first round of English department head interviews. The week after that, on the 3rd and the 5th, we'd be looking at modern and classical language. And then the week of April 8th, we'd be looking on the 8th and the 10th at counseling.
And are those the first rounds?
Those are all first rounds.
Okay.
Now,
so we're
woven
not
in,
scheduling the final rounds yet.
right. Woven into those will be initial interviews for other positions, for example, PE and social studies as well.
When do you expect we'll be starting the interviews for that final round where you need us involved? On a guess.
I would hope, I'm hoping some of them the week of April 8th, so I have some overlap with the initial interviews. Some may go into the vacation week, and then certainly the week we get back. I'd like to have at least department heads settled and hired before May, if I could. Knowing that, I mean, that's a target, but it's not crucial that day.
I think it'd be helpful if you could send us those dates, and then maybe people could volunteer for what they can do, and that'd be great. Sure.
In our absence, the committee will be made up of administrators and staff.
Generally, for department heads, the committee is made up of at least 2 administrators, myself and whoever supervises that department. For counseling, we're going to have all the administrators involved because it's, that counseling department head works with all of us. Within the department, 1 or 2 teachers as well, and also another department head to sit in as well. And for English, Lyle Holliday from central office will sit in, and Nancy Johnson will sit in as well on some of the committees. So the committees are a good size now. It's not, it's not 2 guys in a room. So.
Thank you.
So I will email this to you. Those dates.
Yeah.
Okay, great. A flyer's been passed around, and the Agency of Education is hosting a series of community dinners on innovation. And this comes out of a group of which we're a member called the League of Innovative Schools. And it's a consortium made up of all the schools in New England. And they're looking at new ways to redesign high school to make it more accessible and more successful for our students. We have a dinner coming up on April 25th here at the high school. It's going to be in the multi-purpose room. It would be great to have a strong board presence at that meeting. There is a free dinner. It is the only one in the southern end of the state as well, and I might have advocated a little bit for that to have it come down to this end of the state. And if you know people in business or any other role in the community, it would be wonderful to have them there as well. The more people we can get attending this, I think the more that we'll get listened to from the Agency of Education and the more good ideas will get tossed around. So I look forward to seeing people on the 25th. There is a vegetarian offering as well as a non-vegetarian offering. That's all I know about the menu right now. Finally, last Thursday, I took a group of students to Camp Spofford in New Hampshire, and we met with a speaker named Heath Nord. Heath is a former Minnesota Viking, and he joined the Vikings as a walk-on and spent 8 years playing for them. You can go ahead, Google him. I did. What he does now is he goes around talking to corporations and businesses and educational institutions about what it means to have integrity and what it means to be a leader. And so we took 14 students, and our 14 students were joined by about 150 from 10 other schools in New Hampshire and Vermont. And we had a pretty amazing day together, and he began the day by telling kids that there's 3 keys to his success, and they were to work hard, to constantly improve, which I thought was really great. It wasn't always win, it was constantly improve, and to have fun, and to love what you do. And after he did that brief introduction, he excused all of the adults for 2 hours. And then when we came back, what we saw, and kids told me about what had happened in the interim, but what we saw is we saw 15 groups of students with one representative from each school carrying on a conversation about things that were working well in their school and things that they wanted to improve. Based on that conversation, our kids came away and they said to me, one of the first things they said, I think they're trying to be feel good, was, we have a lot of good things at our school. And they talked about restorative justice, they talked about the course offerings, they talked about the teachers. And then they took a breath and then gave me a laundry list of things that they wanted to improve, which is okay. And so we've had one meeting since then because they were very excited. We met the very next day, and they're working on 2 or 3 ideas right now that they can do this spring to help improve climate in the school and to demonstrate their roles as leaders in the school. So it was a pretty special day for them and for me, and I'm looking forward to sharing more as their work develops.
Is that the student council, Steve?
It is not. And what we did is when all the principals sat down and talked about who did we want to bring to this, we did not necessarily want to bring students that were all proven leaders. We wanted to bring students that had potential for leadership who had never been approached. So I did bring, matter of fact, 3 of the students from Renew were there, but we deliberately targeted students who were not currently leaders in the school, but whom either a counselor, a teacher, or an administrator had said to me, I think you need to talk to this person. So it was it was a great mix. When I brought the kids in at the beginning, before we left, they looked at each other, and one girl looked around and said, I don't know any of you. And she goes, this is going to be great. So it was kind of neat to see. So, thank you.
Question, you referred to spring sports starting up. Are we able to fill all the coaching positions, or are we still?
I believe so. I believe we did. I think one left open was tennis, and that was filled last week.
Okay, great. Okay, central office.
So I just sent around an updated list of the collegiate high school courses. Steve mentioned the parent orientation on March 6th. We did have a good turnout, and through the work of the counselors, Steve, David, and Michael, I think we really had a great response to it. Just wanted to give you an update. We've got 36 courses for next year that give college credit. You can see some new additions on the right-hand side in terms of the granting colleges. SIT has been doing it for a while now. Marlboro College is just beginning with 2 courses. This past semester we had the 2 courses here on campus, and then they have complementary courses on their campus, which I think 3 of our students are enrolled this semester. It's not on this list, but we just signed an arrangement with Landmark College for some coursework for students with disabilities that would get college credit, and we're really excited about that. We've organized these courses in strands, pathways. You can see the first 16 are liberal studies or social justice pathway, the business pathway, STEM, health and human services, arts and communication. We see this list growing all the time. The fact now that in the STEM pathway our students potentially could get a year's worth of college and then go right into the VAST program at VTC or other engineering schools, so that's exciting. When we started this with about 5 courses in 2008, 46% of our students were either first generation or low income students. This year we had over 300 students, 47%, so that number has held. 47% are first generation or low income students, so that's really a great benefit for those students that don't see themselves as college material. On the back, you've seen these guiding principles before. We've just added a little bit more information about the enrollment process for parents, because oftentimes students will sign up for these courses, they don't know they're getting college credits. The parents may not know that they're getting college credit. So we just want to have more information to parents and get the word out as we can. So this is just the latest version of this. We'll keep you updated as we go. If there's any questions on that, I wanted to give TCC and the full board just a little heads up on a 1% application that's going to come around when TCC meets. I'm assuming the next meeting would be hopefully prior to the next board meeting. Okay. So this is an application submitted by Michaela Sims, our diversity coordinator, and I think it's a great program, learning about Asperger's syndrome, a study group that they're creating. And you know, if you've read anything about some of the tragedies that have happened and some of the more recent threatening stuff that's happened in the community, I think there's this notion of certain stereotypes about kids and people with disabilities. And one of the things that this group is really going to dig into is looking at what those strategies are to, you know, make kids and students feel welcome and part of the mainstream, even though they may have some challenging behaviors or situations that they confront. If you flip over to the side, so I'll let you just take a look at this on your own. If you flip over to the side and look at the bottom line, the estimated total, it looks like a high amount, but that will not be borne by BUHS 6. That's the total estimated cost, but the idea is that you might have a number of teachers from BUHS 6. You'll have other teachers from different districts, and so those districts would be contributing to this, this total amount. We're not quite sure. I think she's hoping for 8 to 10 staff members. We're not sure, you know, whether it will generate that many. My sense is you might have 4 from BUHS 6, and you'll maybe have 4 or 6 from outlying towns. So we'll have a better sense of that when people register for this. So again, it's kind of a heads up for the TCC committee, and when you meet, we'd like to talk more about that at that time. And then the last thing I have is I'd like to share a retirement letter from our Career Center Director, Dave Coughlin. And so this letter is addressed to myself and Bob Woodworth. The letter is to inform you of my decision to retire from my position as Director of the Wyndham Regional Career Center at the end of this academic year. My 10 years here at the Career Center have been rewarding, and I'm proud of the gains that we have made at the WRCC. I appreciate the support of the Regional Advisory Board throughout my tenure. Although I will miss being part of the WRCC team, this marks my 32nd year as an educator in working career that began in 1971. My wife and I are moving to Pensacola, Florida, and looking forward to this next segment of our journey. I will be working with Ron Staley to assure a smooth transition to the new director. Sincerely, thank you, and sincerely, Dave Coughlin. So we will need to consider this and move this. But I want to personally thank David for his tenure here and the great work that he's done.
I may have to put in a 1% application to learn how to get used to retirement.
Well, you're going to Pensacola, so you're going to be a panhandler, right? Okay. That's a source of revenue. Well, I would echo Ron's comments, and we really appreciate the contributions David has made, and wish him well. Is there a motion to accept? Ruth?
I move that we accept the resignation of Dave Coughlin as WRCC Director with regret.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's accepted.
That's all I have.
Okay, before we move on to my report, which is minimal, if any, I just wondered, Ron, if maybe, I don't want to put you on the spot right now, but we could discuss at one of our next few meetings, a review of our starting time. I know that initially that program was 1 year, then it was extended for a second year. Wondering if we might get some input as to what the thoughts are moving forward, and if there's any quantifiable results from our 2-year experiment. Yep. And I guess that would be the board chair's report. That's all I have. Okay. Is there any unfinished business? Any new business? We've already had our presentation from Renew. Anything else under new business? We accepted any resignations and retirements?
I have a question.
Yes.
We voted to appropriate $25,000 for the new guidance person to help the dropout. Have they been hired, or?
They've not.
Okay. And I would like to have a report or not forget about it at the end of the year and see what the efficacy of the position was.
This is a position that would start with the ensuing school year, right?
Right.
So
It's a part-time,
at the end,
it's a part-time position,
Yeah.
right.
Right. And a review next year, that's good. Duly noted. Is there anything else under new business? If not, we accept the motion to adjourn and beat the snow.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Our next meeting will be on April, first meeting of April, which will be April 1st. Start early in April. Thank you all very much.